All right, we're going to do a little Photoshop tutorial today. Basically in Photo 1, we will shoot digitally and upload and edit everything. You guys already know how to upload your photos from your memory cards, so we've got those on. Today I'm going to just go and actually pull a stock photo from the pictures that are on the computer, and I can select from any of these. We got this cute little koala bear, so I think that's what I'm going to go with. There's lots of ways to open your photos in Photoshop. You could drag and drop your photo in, kind of like that right there, or you could copy and paste it once you have Photoshop already opened if you want to do it that way. There's lots of ways to kind of import your photos. You can figure that out, choose however you like to do that. My favorite way is just drop it in, opens up, and boom, there's our koala bear. Easy peasy. I'm probably gonna have another thing pop up here in a second because we do have the new edition of Photoshop. There it is. We'll just get rid of that. So we got our koala bear in there. Some simple things you guys need to know is the left is the toolbar. So we have all these different tools over here. This is your selection tool. You have another type of selection tool, or this is the moving tool. A lasso, which will help you select items as well. These are all different selection type tools. The crop tools right here. You probably know that already from your phones and different apps that you use. And there's all kinds of other tools here that we'll get to as we go throughout the semester, but they're not super important at the moment. Some of them you will use, some of them you will never use. There's a million ways and things you can do in Photoshop. It's kind of a learning process, so we'll start slow. You have the basics, cropping. I think that's something that's important. So we need to, look at our image and decide where we want to crop it. We talked about composition in class, so let's just say that's where we want to go. You can click on it again and crop. Pretty easy. This image probably didn't need crop, but we'll do it anyways just to show you how it's done. Other things that are important under image, there are all kinds of adjustments. You can go here and adjust the brightness and the contrast, the levels, which basically adjusts your values from your highlights to your dark values, your shadows. Other things that are important are color balance. If you have like a certain tint to your image, you might need to color balance it and bring it back the other way so that it's the best we can make it. You can change things to black and white. There's multiple ways to do this. This button right here is just as easy as any of them, but you could also hit Alt, Shift, Control B. That is the shortcut. And again, there's just tons of other things here that we don't really need to know about right now. We're not too concerned with them. But what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead. I guess I'm going to show you guys how the levels work. It's one of the first things I'll show you. So with the levels, you can adjust the brightness or the highlights, the middle values, and the dark values, which obviously you're seeing some of these things I'm doing are making the photo terrible. But anyways, I'm going to kind of dim that down a little bit. You can go over here, you can always check and uncheck. You can see what the original photo looked like and see what it looks like with the edits. I don't know if any of that helped. We're just going to cancel out of there. Other adjustments, brightness, contrast. This is a good one to go to and check things out with your photos. Maybe you got a little too much light because you're outside and obviously we can't control the sun. So you need to come back in here and adjust your brightness, your contrast. Or maybe we want to just go to black and white. You can come here, you can see what black and white looks like. Here we can go back to color, there's black and white. You can do whatever you like within those adjustments that will help aid your photo. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through kind of some different steps so that you guys start to understand Photoshop a little bit. We've got a photo in there. We're starting to edit it. We've cropped it already, which is probably one of the first things you always need to do. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to have you guys lasso a section. So choose your lasso. Sometimes one of these other ones will be up, the polygonal lasso tool or the magnetic lasso. They're just different types of lasso tools or selection tools. Just go to the regular lasso. I'm gonna lasso this dude's eye and select that. So basically anything that I have within the selected area is going to be what I copy when I go up here and copy. So I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, and then I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to Paste. So something you'll notice is nothing really happened, but over here I now have a layer. So this is my original one. This is the one that just popped up. It's kind of hidden right now, but there is another eye here. So that's what I pasted down. It's on this layer. So anytime I'm on this layer, you have to be highlighted over here on this layer. I can only edit that. So let's just say I take the eraser and I go down here and I try and erase his nose. I can't because I'm on layer 1 and all I can erase is this. As you can see, I just did, and I don't want to do. So if you ever want to go backwards, you can step backwards and boom, I went back to where I was. Also, it's a good idea to always have up your history, because now I can go back to wherever I want, and it's even easier. Say you did like 10 things and you want to step backwards 10 times, it's easier to just do it over here in the history bar. A lot of things are hidden here underneath the windows, which we'll get into more as we go throughout the semester, but for now, that's good. Anyways, so we have a third eye. Something we need to do is we need to kind of make that a little cleaner looking. The one thing about Photoshop is we don't want our edits to look like a Photoshopped edit, so we want it to look like it's natural, even though a third eye in the middle of the koala's head probably isn't natural. But something else you can do, this little eye over here, you can hide everything else. It makes it a little easier to see sometimes. So I'm going to do that. The eye's kind of small right now, so I'm going to hit Control and plus, and I'm going to zoom in. Control minus will zoom out. We're going to go ahead and erase around the eye and clean it up. Right now my eraser's huge. We don't want it that big. All your sizing for it is up here. So everything up here on the toolbar, no matter if you're doing a paintbrush or if it's an eraser or what it is, it's up here. And you can adjust the hardness, so how fast it erases. You know, do you want it to be kind of light, you got to keep clicking or dragging over it, or do you want it to erase it all immediately? You know, that's the hardness of the eraser. I still think the size is too big. I want to get it to where it's manageable and I'm not flipping the whole thing. But you can start to see I've only got the hardness or the opacities down. So you got to check all these things. They're always something that seems to be off. And then we can just, I'm holding down on the mouse and I am erasing around the eye. Erase this part. I'm going to go back over to the selection tool. I'm going to make the background reappear. Now I'm zoomed way in and that's really obnoxious, so I'm going to come back out so I can see what I did. And you can see I now have a koala bear with a third eye, and it looks pretty decent. It's nothing special. But I do want you guys to go ahead and go back to layer 1 and make some adjustments. So go to adjustments. Nah, I don't know. Let's go to color balance. See if we slide it towards red. We can kind of do some things. Again, nothing that's setting the world on fire. But I want you to play with it, start to understand what you're doing, what's going on. Levels are always something good to go to. I think these are really good for when you go to black and white, or even if your value is just off, your lighting's a little off in your photo, you can sometimes cure it with the levels. And then you're going to go ahead and you've created this beautiful masterpiece we're going to have to save. So we want to go ahead and save as a PSD. So a PSD is a Photoshop document. It is saved as a PSD so that tomorrow when we come back we can edit again, and then all these layers that we had over here, they're still workable. We can come right back in, continue right where we left off, and we'll be able to see all of our layers and work there. So we're going to go to our folder that we created the other day, and we are Billy Manziel, and we're going to go to in progress, and we're going to save our koala right here. As you can see, I've already saved it from a few other classes, but we're going to save him as a PSD. and that will be on our folder now as a PSD. And when you go in and you open it up, it'll pop right back up in Photoshop, and you can start working with all your layers. Now, the next thing we want to do is we actually want to save this as a JPEG, so it's a final flattened down image, and it's basically ready to view for critique. So we saved it as a PSD just to do that, just to show you how. Now we're going to go ahead, we're going to go to layer. Down here is flatten image. So all these layers we have over here, they're now going to compress and it's going to flatten. Now you'll see over here there's just one layer. So now I can't grab my eye anymore and move it. It's flattened down. It says could not move because the layer is locked. Basically it's one flat image. So there's no layers anymore. You flatten them. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to save as a JPEG. So JPEG is important. It's kind of a universal format that anyone can view. If you wanted to send it to someone or post it online, again, it's something that we'll use in critiques. Your photos need to be in JPEG format. That's a final format so that we can bring those up and view them. Again, we're going to go to Billy Manziel, because that's who we are, and we are going to save it in the finals folder. And we're going to go ahead and save our koala as a JPEG. It's going to ask you to save it. Just hit OK. And we are basically done. Hopefully that solves some of your questions. Now you're going to have other things pop up as you guys go. You know, your toolbars are going to be hidden, or things are going to be missing, or you're going to click on something and not realize. You've got to search around. You've got to kind of look at some of those things I was talking about. You know, the eye here, you can hide and reappear your image. You need to go in and you need to play with some of these adjustments. All the tools, we haven't gotten to them. We will get to them. But if, let's just say, your lasso's missing and the polygonal lasso's up, they're hiding underneath. There's lots of crazy items in Photoshop that, in general, it just takes some time. You've got to play and, you know, watch some tutorials on YouTube, and that's the only way you can get better at it. So that's the introduction for Photoshop. Hopefully that helps, and we'll go from there. Now you guys can give it a go.